Today we're breaking down one of the most misunderstood and most dangerous tactics in procurement, lowballing. At first glance, it looks like a dream scenario. A supplier comes in with a price far below everyone else. Management gets excited, savings look immediate, budgets look protected. But behind many of these too good to be true offers lies a hidden strategy that can quietly destroy value, disrupt operations, and inflate total cost over time. What seems like a win on paper can turn into delays, quality failures, contract disputes, and costly variations. So in this video, we will uncover what lowballing really is, why suppliers use it, and how smart procurement leaders protect their organizations from falling into this trap. When a bid is far below the market, it should not trigger celebration. It should trigger investigation. Because in procurement, unrealistically low prices are rarely acts of generosity. They are often strategic entry points. The supplier wins the contract with an attractive number, and then, once you are locked in, the hidden costs begin to surface through change orders, reduced service levels, quality compromises, delays, and claims that were never visible in the original quotation. So the money you thought you saved at award stage is often paid back later, with interest. Lowballing is not a pricing mistake. It is a deliberate strategy. A supplier submits a price that is clearly below realistic cost, not because they can truly deliver at that level, but because their priority is to secure the contract at any cost. Once the contract is awarded and the buyer is operationally dependent, the recovery phase begins. Costs are pushed back through change orders, scope creep, contract variations, aggressive renegotiations, and sometimes through something even more damaging, reduced quality, weaker service, and hidden shortcuts. In other words, the low price is only a door opener. The real commercial terms are rewritten after you are already inside the relationship. Suppliers rarely lowball by accident. In most cases, it is a calculated business decision driven by strategy, not desperation. Some suppliers lowball to enter a new market. They are willing to take an initial loss just to establish a footprint, build references, and secure future opportunities. Others do it to block competitors. By winning the contract at any cost, they prevent rivals from gaining access to a key account or a strategic industry. In many cases, the objective is to win a high-profile or strategic client, one logo that can open doors to many others. Then comes the commercial recovery plan. Some suppliers intentionally rely on future change orders, scope expansions, and contract amendments to rebuild their margins once the project is underway and switching becomes difficult. And finally, some suppliers lowball simply because they believe the buyer is focused only on the lowest price, not on total cost, risk, or long-term value. In all these cases, the low price is not the end of the story. It is only the entry point. Lowballing never stays cheap. It simply shifts cost and risk to later stages of the contract. What starts as an attractive number quickly turns into cost overruns as scope gaps are exposed and variations multiply. Change orders become the norm, not the exception, each one slowly eroding the original business case. To survive on an unrealistic price, suppliers may cut corners, reduce resources, or compromise quality, putting operational performance and brand reputation at risk. In extreme cases, the supplier's financial stability itself becomes a concern, increasing the risk of non-performance or even contract failure. Delays follow, disputes escalate, legal costs rise, and management attention is diverted from strategy to firefighting. And the most dangerous outcome of all is supplier lock-in. Once systems, processes, or operations are built around a lowball supplier, switching becomes expensive, disruptive, and sometimes impossible, giving the supplier leverage to renegotiate on their terms. Experienced procurement professionals know that lowballing leaves fingerprints. The first red flag is a bid that sits far below the market average, with no credible explanation. When one price is dramatically lower than all others, the question is not how did they do it? It is, what are they not telling us? The second warning sign is a weak or vague cost breakdown. When suppliers cannot clearly explain how they will deliver at that price, it often means the numbers are not built on reality. Unrealistic delivery timelines and performance promises are another indicator. Aggressive schedules at unsustainably low cost usually signal future claims and scope changes. Then comes heavy dependence on assumptions and future adjustments. Phrases like, to be confirmed, subject to revision, or not included in current scope. And finally, history matters. Suppliers with a pattern of winning on low price and later renegotiating contracts are often repeating the same strategy. Smart procurement doesn't just evaluate price. It evaluates credibility, sustainability, and total cost of ownership. Let's bring this to life with a simple, real-world scenario. A supplier submits a bid that is 40% lower than every other competitor. On paper, the savings look extraordinary. The contract is awarded. The business celebrates. But 3 months into execution, the picture changes. The supplier starts requesting price increases, claiming unforeseen costs and scope gaps. Service levels begin to drop as resources are reduced. Delivery schedules slip, performance penalties are discussed. By the time variations, delays, rework, and operational disruptions are fully accounted for, the total cost of the contract is no longer the lowest. In fact, it exceeds the price of the second lowest, and sometimes even the average market offer. This is the true anatomy of lowballing. Win cheap, recover later, and leave the buyer paying more than if they had selected a realistic, sustainable bid from the start. Smart procurement does not fight lowballing with intuition. It fights it with discipline and structure. First, require detailed, transparent cost breakdowns that clearly show how the supplier will deliver, with no hidden gaps. Second, apply should-cost models and market benchmarks to test whether the price is commercially and technically realistic. Third, move away from lowest price wins and use weighted scoring models that balance cost, quality, risk, capability, and total value. Fourth, strengthen contracts with clear scope definitions, change order controls, performance penalties, and price adjustment mechanisms. Fifth, assess supplier financial health to ensure they can sustain the contract without cutting corners or forcing renegotiations. And finally, challenge every unrealistic assumption on timelines, volumes, productivity, and resource levels. Because in procurement, the cheapest bid is not the lowest cost. The most credible bid is. Lowballing isn't a bargain. It's a risk disguised as savings. It creates the illusion of short-term gain while quietly setting the stage for long-term cost, disruption, and loss of control. That's why mature procurement organizations do not chase the lowest number on the page. They evaluate total cost of ownership, delivery credibility, financial sustainability, and long-term performance. Because in the end, the objective of procurement is not to buy cheap. It is to buy smart, protect value, and secure sustainable results for the business. Thank you for watching. We hope this session helped you see procurement from a smarter, more strategic perspective. Remember, the right procurement decisions don't just save money. They protect profit, reduce risk, and create long-term value. For more videos like this, covering procurement strategy, cost optimization, and supplier management, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow our channel. Until next time, stay smart, stay strategic, and keep your procurement working for your business.